Hi, this is Dan Scrivner here with a quick preview of our latest cheat sheet episode, which comes out tomorrow. Now, this week we profiled Adrian Aoun, who founded Forward in 2017 to turn healthcare from a service into a product to dramatically decrease the cost of healthcare so that they can reach 1 billion plus people globally. And Adrian has a fascinating background outside of Forward that's going to factor into this week's cheat sheet. So I'm just going to quickly share a little bit about his background. Before founding Forward, Adrian served as the director of special projects for Google CEO at the time, Larry Page. He also founded the Google subsidiary Sidewalk Labs, which is focused on urban environments and innovating there. And he also served as an advisor to the White House on the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. Huge mouthful, but effectively helped inform policy, helped inform the White House about how science and technology might be playing out and where we're headed. And I share all of that because it's going to factor pretty heavily into this week's cheat sheet. So the three big ideas that we're going to cover this week is the first one is a principle that features heavily in Forward's culture and how they approach solving this massive problem that they have of how can they take a broken system like healthcare, turn it into a product, bring down the cost of healthcare, which is actually rising 6 to 7% each year, so that they can reach 1 billion plus people. And the key there is that he is problem obsessed. Adrian has built a problem obsessed culture at Forward. And I think the way he's framed that and the way that he talks about it is just fascinating. And so the first thing we're going to cover is a principle, and it's why all companies should be problem obsessed and not solutions obsessed. The second is a framework. One of the things that Adrian had to do, both in the director of special projects role for the Google CEO, Larry Page, but also as an advisor on this Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, is effectively try to predict the future. And it's not so much to say this is exactly what's going to happen, but it's to have a perspective on the extremes about how things are likely to play out and what direction we're likely headed in. And so a way of thinking about it is it's not fine-grained predicting the future, it's coarse-grained. It's saying, here's generally where I think we're headed and here's why. And so he has to have a framework to effectively predict the future. And I've decoded that. We went through an exercise of this live in the interview. I've decoded this into a framework that I think is really powerful. And so it's how to predict the future from first principles. That's number 2. And then the third is an insight. And it's an insight around the nature of service-based businesses and the nature of product-based businesses and kind of the juxtaposition and the challenges that service-based businesses face that products don't. And one of the things, the reason this is relevant is Forward is effectively saying kind of two things. Number one, healthcare is broken. It's incredibly expensive. And the reason it's expensive is because humans are at the heart of every single interaction. And so it's a service-based business. It's not a product. I'm just going to leave it there. We'll go into much more depth tomorrow. But the second thing is that actually the only way to decrease the cost of healthcare, which today is 20% of GDP and is rising 6 to 7% year over year. I mean, just absolutely incredible, mind-boggling stats when you dig into it. But the only way to actually reverse that and to bring healthcare down in cost and start driving the cost down as opposed to up is to approach healthcare as a product. And so we're going to talk about, this insight about why healthcare should be a product but not a service, but this is widely applicable. And so I think there are a lot of interesting lessons here. That's what we have in store for tomorrow. This week's cheat sheet is titled Obsessing Over Problems and Predicting the Future. And if you're interested, it's a free newsletter. We send it out once per week. You can sign up to get it in your inbox for free at cheatsheetnewsletter.com. I'll see you tomorrow.